Oh, baby, here come the Rams. This is RamView.
It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Hold on, okay.
Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Trozian, and this is RamView, the December 21st, 22nd, 2023 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's KistlerLawFirm.com. One word, Kistler Law. They've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues? Get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And by Granite Ridge Christian Camp, a place where your life can change. And the Rams are alive, and so are you, right? I feel like Ebenezer Scrooge waking up on Christmas morning and he goes, I'm alive, right? Or the Frank Cross Bill Murray version of I'm alive and holy crud, what a break, you know? And here we are. The Rams are 8-7. They're the sixth seed in the playoffs as we speak. It doesn't promise anything. It doesn't guarantee anything if they fall on their face in the Meadowlands or in New Jersey in 10 days. But right now they are. They're where good Ram fans and Ram fans who were thinking knew they would be. They've accomplished so many things. And so I don't want to focus on the end of last night's game because there's room enough to talk about that. And we really don't have to. I think the important thing to think about when we think about this Rams team and where the Rams are at right now is that this is not the 2021 Rams, right? These are the 2023 Rams. In the last 2 years, the Rams have lost Darius Williams. Nick Scott, who wasn't great, but Nick Scott's the guy that put the hit on Deebo Samuel. So he'll always have a great place in Ram lore. We're not even going to mention Taylor Rapp, right? But in the last 2 years, the Rams lost Darius Williams, who's become all-pro level after leaving in free agency. And then you've got Jalen Ramsey. Ashawn Robinson played one of his best games as a Ram in the Super Bowl. Greg Gaines. 4/5 of the offensive line is gone or not starting anymore. Andrew Whitworth being one of those guys. OBJ, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd. Yeah, and then you got all the coaches that have left, right, and cycled out. If that team played around at the end of the game the way the Rams have the last 2 weeks against the Commanders or the last 5 days against the Commanders and the Saints, we'd have problems. We would really be upset. But because they're winning in 2023, we have a tendency to think there's a lot to worry about. This is a young team that has no business being where it is. And it's obvious. They don't know what they're supposed to know. So they just keep going out there and they keep making these mental mistakes that shows that physically, athletically, they can bang. They're right there with everybody else. They can bang. They're just really young, and they're going to make young, stupid mistakes. Even some veterans like Jordan Fuller, they're all going to make some mistakes. 22 starters, okay? 22 starters based on how you want to, switch out when they go into a nickel, and most of the time we're in a nickel anyway. The Rams have one first-round pick playing on defense. That's Aaron Donald. They have 3 undrafted free agents starting on defense. On offense, the Rams have 1 first-rounder starting on offense. That was some guy named Matthew Stafford, and he wasn't even drafted by the Rams. And they're starting 2 undrafted free agents, 1 at center and the other one at left guard. So think about this Rams team. 2 second-round picks are starting, Avila and Havenstein. Third-round picks, they got 6 of them. Kupp, John Johnson, Witherspoon, Kobe the Conductor Turner, Ernest Jones is becoming all-world, and Byron Young. In the 4th round, they're starting Demarcus Robinson, even though he wasn't taken by the Rams. He's a 4th-round pick. Higbee, Dotson, Brown, Bobby Brown, Kobe Durant are 4th-rounders. 5th-rounders in Williams and Nakua, who are playing like all pros, and then 6th-rounders in again, switching out who we play, Kendrick, Fuller, and Quentin Lake, who's another guy that is playing at a Pro Bowl level. So think about that when you're watching this Rams team and just enjoy this ride, right? We're at the point now where we can enjoy this ride. Let's get the win in 10 days. That's the other advantage. The Rams won on Thursday. Now they get 10 days for McVay to scare them to death about, hey, we're not going to New York to watch the ball drop, right? We're not going there for a fiesta. We're going there to lock up a playoff spot, right? If the Rams win, I think the playoff spot's locked up, all right? They'll be 9-7. I'll have to look at it, but they've locked up a playoff spot for sure. I think right now they're 75% in or whatever it is. But when you look at the rest of those in contention, they've separated themselves a bit from the pack. And then they have the Giants and Tommy DeVito waiting for them on New Year's Eve. They got 10 days to prepare for that. So this is good news. This is really good news. So we're going to get to this Rams game against the Saints. And I know you know the score, you know the stats, you know the things that already took place. You know, this game is something like 20 hours old by the time I get on at 3:30. But I just want to talk about the things that popped. There were a lot of things that popped, and I will start getting into the questions, guys, as soon as we get to the break. You know that, so keep feeding them in there. I love doing that part of the show. Kobe Durant got the start over Darian Kendrick. Durant played 50 snaps, first significant time he's gotten since the Pittsburgh game, and Darian Kendrick only played 10 snaps. But isn't it kind of ironic that secondary still had issues? You know, still had issues. We'll talk about it. Opening drive, and I think this is for the third consecutive week. I know it happened in Baltimore. I'll have to double check last week or Sunday against the Commanders or the Taxkins. But Higbee, Kupp, Nakua, and Robinson all caught the ball on the opening drive. And that is really a great thing to see. I think that speaks, again, to Stafford's comfortability with these receivers and the time the line is giving him. He has got options. He's going through back and forth through his progressions, and he's finding the right receiver. And Robinson's become a legitimate threat along with Nakua and Kupp, causing much distress for defenses. And if Higbee's catching the ball, even better. And then we haven't even talked about Kyron Williams coming out of the backfield. When the Rams got to first and goal last night, did you notice they ran twice? They did this a couple of times. They were inside first and goal. They ran twice before they ran that third down play to Kupp, and Kupp kind of dropped it at the goal line. But then they went for it on fourth down. And I thought that was a huge statement. And it really showed the Rams were playing for keeps. They were going to go 14 plays, 95 yards in just under 8 minutes, about 7 minutes and 30 seconds there. And it paid off with Nakua scoring the touchdown. And when I saw that, a lot of nervousness went away because I didn't think the Saints, if the Rams were going to be that aggressive and be that tight on defense. And I think Mr. Kistler there said something, the offense is starting to click. You could see that the offense was starting to click. And I never really felt like this game was in doubt. The Rams got to Derek Carr early, but they got to him early. They didn't get to him late. And that's something to think about when it comes to a consistent pass rush. And I think a consistent pass rush is the only thing that's going to save this secondary. And it's the only good thing going to keep this team from doom. And they don't have it. And that's what's going to do them in, I think, ultimately, when we get to the end of the line. Still, Ernest Jones picked up another sack, his fifth. Kobe Turner, the conductor, picked up another sack. Not bad for a third-round pick. I've been saying he was the 91st overall. He was the 89th overall pick. So it's a little bit better than the 91st pick. Quentin Lake is becoming probably the most important person on the back porch, right? And, you got your front seven, and then you got your defensive backs. And honestly, who's been consistently better this year than Quentin Lake, right? Quentin Lake has been amazing. It's been great seeing his snaps go up. And, he's been playing, to me, at a Pro Bowl level. It's become clear Royce Freeman has played well, but Ronnie Rivers is running back number 2. Another point here, Stafford is off the charts. How about the one where Stafford broke out of the pocket, went to his left, and then flung it down the sidelines to Demarcus Robinson? Demarcus Robinson has been this revelation. he didn't beat out Atwell because Atwell needed to be replaced. It's because Robinson is just playing that well, and he's a larger target, and it works. I was happy to see an article, I think just before I came on. I saw a link. I'm not sure who it was, if it was Turf Show Times or Rams Wire, and they talk about the Rams wanting to make sure Atwell stays involved. As it is, Atwell only got 4 snaps yesterday, but Robinson has been that good. And I'm guessing, I bet KC wishes they had him back because he's looked better than any of their receivers, including Travis Swift. I'm sorry, Taylor Kelsey and stuff this year. Demarcus Robinson, we saw him. My brother and I were at practice in the summer, and you saw him, and it's like, wow, this guy looks really good. But you just didn't think he would have this kind of an impact, and he has. And so that's awesome. Luke Haversick missed a 47-yard field goal. It seems like he struggles between 40 and 50 yards. Hits a 50-yarder in the rain, but he did come back and hit everything else. Although the grimace on Sean McVay's face when he missed that 47-yarder was pretty brutal, right? But the kid finished strong and probably earned himself another week. It was interesting, news broke today. The Rams are looking at another long snapper, and there hasn't been anything egregious that happened, but there's something that's not clicking there, and maybe Carson Tinker's time with the Rams is short-lived. Alex Ward doesn't come back. I don't think the Rams will be able to get him back until the first week of the playoffs, provided we get there, which I think we will. Saints never established a running game. You always go into a Saint game thinking about Alvin Kamara, and Alvin Kamara just looked tired last night, right? He looked old. He's had a lot of hits and a lot of touches in the 6 years he's been in the league, and he was not a threat at all. The Carr to Shaheed touchdown, he beats Witherspoon, and that one frustrated me a little bit because it wasn't a case of necessarily, hey, their guy beat our best guy, but it looked like another blown coverage, and it looked like Jordan Fuller had a brain freeze, right? And then again, I guess Darian Kendrick's not the only problem in the secondary. That's frustrating because the defense is playing well, and these are heirs of youth. Inexperience, but we've got experience. Jordan Fuller's in his 4th year. John Johnson's been around since 2017 in the NFL. There shouldn't be these breakdowns on the back porch where the safeties play, but they seem to happen. And Witherspoon looked like he was looking for help. Whatever it was, these are the things that are undoing the Rams right now, but not completely undoing them, but it's causing problems. So it was 10-7. My feeling was Jordan Fuller, enjoy him while you can. He did get the pick. He got a game ball, but I don't think he's getting a second contract. He's going to go the way of most of these other safeties. Maybe if no one offers him anything, the Rams can bring him back, but this is what the Rams do, right? They draft safeties, and they move them in, and they move them out. So they get the touchdown. Rams missed the field goal. That's where they got the touchdown afterwards. And then they got the ball back, and the Saints are driving. They get to midfield. Everything bogs down. And then for some reason, Dennis Allen decides to go for it on 4th down. Everyone else made a point out of it, and I get it. I'm not first to the party here. I'm making this point. But why? You punt the ball, and you go into the half down 10-7. And instead, the Rams do get a little bit of pressure. Carr throws the ball away, and then Stafford makes them pay with an incredible pass to Robinson on the touchdown. Did you see that throw? And just a great catch by Robinson. He sure didn't look like Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson looks like a third receiver, right? Even Tutu. I love Tutu, but he looks like a third receiver. Demarcus Robinson looks more like a 2 or even a 1, making the catch and doing the toe tap in the back of the end zone. So that was amazing. Watching the teams go in the halftime locker room, seeing Jimmy Graham in uniform for the Saints, right? And seeing him as a non-factor was weird. Getting to the second half there, Kyrene Williams, right? I said he's on the verge of being very special. Kyrene Williams is elite. He really is. He's playing at an elite level, and he continues to turn chicken cheese into chicken salad, if I can borrow something from what a friend told me in a cleaner way. The Saints' second scoring drive didn't bother me in the third or early in the fourth, right? That didn't bother me. The Rams were trading yardage for time. And then they closed it to 30-14. The Rams got the ball back with 6:31. And I love this about the Rams. They got it back. There's 6:31 to play, and you figure they're going to run the ball. But instead of running, Stafford goes to Nakua for 16, 17 yards. And again, Rams are playing for keeps, right? The Rams are playing for keeps. And they have a coach who's been there before who wasn't going to settle for just, hey, let's just try to run 3 plays in the line of scrimmage, burn some clock here. And the bummer about that drive is Kyren Williams breaks off the big run that likely would have iced the whole deal, but Davis Allen was called for holding. In fact, 2 key penalties last night were the only 2 key penalties that hurt the Rams last night, the false start and that holding penalty, both on Davis Allen. The block punt, yeah, I think we all see it. Special teams right there, they're an issue. Young team, it's what happens, right? Fortunate that at least the ball went forward, but yet the Saints scored so quick. And on that score, and I was surprised no one talked about it. Maybe on some other podcasts they've talked about it already. But, the Saints receiver, Perry, come on. Did you not see him grab Durant by the shoulder, pull on him, and then push him away? It was such an obvious pass interference, right? I mean, maybe not as blatant as what happened to MVS up in Green Bay for the Chiefs, but that was offensive pass interference, right? So I thought Kobe Durant was in a great position there, and that's a tough one to deal with, right? That's a tough one to deal with. That's one that I really couldn't get so mad at the secondary about. Rams recover the onside kick. Game pretty much is run out from there, but Nakua, the physicality of Nakua on that jet sweep. And again, going back to it, what a dangerous team core the Rams have at receiver, right? And then you add in Kyren Williams and a healthy Higbee who seems to be catching the ball. And as the old saying goes, the Rams are ready to eat lightning and crud thunder. They are playing well. And again, I think we've all known it, right? Everyone else is picking up on it like it's some revelation. I'm telling you, keep an eye on the Rams. Really? Well, we've kept an eye on the Rams all year. We have. And we know the Rams are looking good. Rams did move into the 6th spot, which means if the playoffs started today, the 49ers would get the bye. The Cowboys would be the 2nd seed, and then you got the Lions. And that's an interesting one, that the Rams would play Detroit if the playoffs started today. Of course, all that's going to shake out more so as we go through this weekend. Lions got a big game against the Vikings, and I'd like to see the Lions put the Vikings away, push them a little bit further down in the queue, and then you got the Seahawks playing the Titans, and then you got the Falcons, Colts, Packers, Panthers. But as these things start to shake out, we really want to see the Lions beat the Vikings, and we want to see the Titans take care of the Seahawks, go for a little bit of Will Levis there and stuff. So around the NFL and other places, just posting in other things here, the NCAA is more corrupt than Congress, honestly. All the stuff you hear about Michigan again, right? If Michigan wants the Wolverines truly to be the America's team, then you know what Michigan University needs to do is they need to fight the NCAA tooth and nail and just sue their butts for wrongful prosecution there, right? The NCAA is so corrupt. I'm not saying that Michigan is without sin, but for the NCAA to come after Michigan, it's like Ted Kennedy calling out Clarence Thomas on character issues, or Joe Biden back in the day calling Clarence Thomas out on character issues. The NCAA is corrupt. And then what's the level of corruption? Why is the FBI involved? The FBI is involved? What a pathetic organization. The FBI has become a joke, and I respect cops, but it's time for the FBI to go away. You're investigating Michigan? Zero respect for that brand. And I hope Michigan decides to fight to the end, because you don't want to give the NCAA. They have lost power everywhere, and they're trying to turn Harbaugh into the next Tarkanian. And they just need to say, no way, we're going to war. We're going to fight you tooth and nail. Expose the corruption that is the NCAA. And that's why I don't have a problem with transfer portal, NIL, because the NCAA butchered this for so many years when they could have done things right, but they felt they were above reproach. A corrupt organization, let it, stick the stake into its chest and put it to death, right? watching other stuff on the media. I always laugh when millionaire members of the KBM talk about how great California's economy is and that its taxes are not a big deal. It's the equivalent of them saying, let them eat cake, right? They all live in Malibu. They all live someplace else, but they don't understand the taxes and the regulation and what it does to the average person, those trying to run a business. And I always hear the KBM say, I don't know why people talk bad about California. Well, when you're a millionaire multiple times over and you live in Malibu, you could pay the taxes. It doesn't affect you. I felt like I needed to get that out because I heard that a couple of times in regards to the Dodgers and their signings. And the Dodgers seem to have signed everybody. I'm a Mets fan, but if they give me some of that dough, I'm willing to return to Blue Heaven, Casa Azul. They just seem to have a ton of dough throwing around out there. And, you always think they got that much money to throw away, man. You'd like to get your hands on it somewhere. Chargers put Joseph Sebastian Day, former Ram, into the street. They waive him. He didn't play well for the Chargers. He just did it. He made a little bit better this year. It was lousy last year. And sorry to say, it's the end of the ride. The day is over for him. Trevor Lawrence worked out today, but I think the Jags need the game, but Trevor Lawrence needs rest, right? We saw Trevor Lawrence last weekend. The guy looks beat up. He needs time off. And before we go to break here, I thought this was kind of funny, is the Giants have signed Mason Crosby to their practice squad. Mason Crosby, who had 30 minutes with the Rams on their practice squad. And the expectation is for Mason Crosby, because Cade York is hurt, the expectation is for Mason Crosby to kick for the Giants against the Eagles this Monday night, which is a little bit, there could be some irony building here in the fact that Crosby could be kicking against the Rams on December 31st. And then you think about who the Rams decided to go with and then said no to Crosby. I hope that doesn't become an issue, but just something to think about. My name is Joe Terosian, and I was a sports writer for 21 years, one of the founding members of Mid-Valley Sports with Tim and Dwayne, and those guys are still in the room. They cover the Chargers. I cover the Rams. Thankfully, because we have some great sponsors at Kistler Law Firm. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. You have an injury, you have an auto accident, you need questions answered, give Kistler Law a call, as well as Temple City Auto. I also write books. My books are on Amazon. Some of you have bought some books of mine, and I really, really appreciate it. Check them out on Amazon. Type in Joe Terosian, and I got 2 high school football novels there. They've done well. And then some other Christian fiction. I do those, and I do RamView to keep me employed in my day job as I pastor a small church in Burbank called Burbank Faith Nazarene. And you can also find us right here on YouTube at Burbank Faith Virtual, as that's our channel, as well as Burbank Faith Virtual website, Burbank Faith Virtual on Facebook, and all the other places and around. Okay, let's see what I got here in terms of questions. Tim Burns, who has been frothing. Justin Tucker has missed from 40 to 49 13 times in 13 years since leaving high school, is 21 for 40 outside 39 yards for only 50%. How does Sean keep a guy who misses in 5 of his 8 this year? It's late, and Justin Tucker's a Hall of Famer. So I don't know if it's fair to lay Justin Tucker in comparison to Haversick. I don't know what to tell you, Tim. I don't know. I know we're stuck, right? This is the dude we're dancing with. This is the guy we're going with. So it better be some positive vibes. If the guy's got the steel to kick in the rain in Baltimore on the road in that environment, why can't he make them on the carpet SoFi all the time? And I guess we're going to find out, right? Moving to the passing game, playing off power runs is a way different than how the Rams scheme played out during golf, and it's there. It's who we are now. Absolutely, Tim Burns. They made a big deal about that, and I think it's played to the strength of the offensive line. And, I agree. Paul Kistler offense is starting to click. Special teams are a weak link. Yep. Special teams are a weak link. Tutu might be the next Wally Pipp. You know what, Paul? He could be. But, Wally Pipp, when you go back and look at it, was not a bad player. He was just replaced by Lou Gehrig. And I'm not saying that Demarcus Robinson is Lou Gehrig or the second coming of, Al Toon. But Demarcus Robinson's just playing at another level, and you got to go with the hot hand. I think there's room to use Tutu. I hope they can find a place because he is a burner. But yeah, Demarcus Robinson will be the reason that Tutu doesn't get a second contract unless Demarcus Robinson, which is really interesting, is Demarcus Robinson's been on what, 3 teams in the NFL, 4 teams in the NFL. He's been around about 6-7 years, and he hasn't found a home. This is the first place we're talking about his name, and he's, again, one of those guys. Baker Mayfield comes to L.A. and resurrects his career. Demarcus Robinson comes to L.A., and maybe somebody else next season's offering him more money, and he might have to take the bag and take the money, but this is the place where he prospered, and who knows, maybe he re-signs and comes back here. Demarcus Robinson is doing what we wanted out of Allen Robinson, and Tutu missed his spot. Yeah, about Demarcus Robinson and Allen Robinson. I think Allen Robinson's washed. I think he is. I mean, I'll let Steeler fan Rob talk about it, but I think Allen Robinson is washed. He has not made an impact there in Pittsburgh, and I think they'd be dying for a receiver to make an impact because Johnson and Pickens are a couple of soft dudes that would probably never lace cleats for the Rams. Just saying, Steeler fan Rob. Frustrating but Rashid Shaheed has played well this year. Yeah, blown coverage, but yeah, he has played well. They just can't seem to get anything in gear. I think they need a coaching change before they need a quarterback change in New Orleans. No, Bill, I don't think we should pick up. Bill asks, should the Rams reach out to Joseph Sebastian Day? I don't think so. I don't want anything to cut into the time of Jonah Williams, Kobe Durant, or Bobby Brown. Remember, Joseph Sebastian Day got hurt, was playing fairly well early in 2021, but the one that closed the deal there was Greg Gaines. And I think Sebastian Day, I think he's had his run, and I think, yeah, God bless him. I hope he has a Merry Christmas. Christmas wish list, a new center in the draft. I'm going to bring that up here in a minute. Alaric Jackson has played really well. And I think one of the questions that's going to come up, I think we all say we need a tackle. And maybe we do because Havenstein's aging. But if the Rams do go on a run, let's just say they make it to the playoffs, and let's just say they pick off a win, and Jackson plays well through all of that. He's cheap at left tackle. What do the Rams do in the draft? Definitely a center. I know a lot of people are talking about the alt kid from Notre Dame, if he's still there. Rams keep climbing up in the draft queue, though, so I don't know if that kid's going to be there. But, yeah, I'm for anything along the offensive line. That's just spend your money on the offense. Spend your draft capital on the offensive line. I am not against that at all. Richard Ramos, New Year's Eve is my birthday. It would not be better than having the Rams dominate the Giants. 30-17. Hey, I'll take it. I'm afraid of a letdown. I'm afraid. I saw the post-game thing that they posted. It was on YouTube. Sean McVay giving out game balls, and then Matthew Stafford talking to the team about finishing things. And I really hope they go to New York with the idea of finishing things, and that there's not some weird trap issue that the Giant game turns into a trap game as they're thinking about the 49ers. We don't need to beat the 49ers to go to the playoffs, right? The 49er game is going to be the icing on the cake, the cherry on top if they could pick off that win. You beat the Giants, and I think I'm 90% sure we're in the playoffs. And yes, if that's your birthday, brother, Richard, I hope to give you that present that the Rams win that game. Steve Ramirez, legendary Steve Ramirez. Mets and Yankees still higher payroll than the Dodgers. Yeah, because Ohtani's a good dude. Ohtani signs, he wants to win, man. Of course they're better. They got a better payroll than the Mets and Yankees. I was kind of hoping the Mets would get Yamamoto, but I don't know. Wasn't that a battleship that was sunk in World War II? Anyway, we don't want another James Harris situation. Play D-Rob. That is Steve Ramirez. Hey, you know what? You got to go with Demarcus Robinson right now. Next year, move Avila to center and get a big guard. That's from Bill. You know what, Bill, haven't we been talking about that they said that in college, Avila played a lot of center? And it does make sense, doesn't it? Could you imagine if the Rams spend the 17 rocks a year to re-sign Kevin Dotson and then move Avila in at center and then get another Bubba at left guard? That's pretty formidable. As your quarterback ages, right, it's not the edges that you worry about so much. It's the pressure straight up the middle. You get another block of granite up there. That would be cool to see. all respect to what Brian Allen gave us in 2021 and what Coleman Shelton is giving us this year. But yeah, it would be nice to see. Another. It would be nice to see another block of granite there. Rick Ramos, bring on Detroit. Let's go. Yeah, it would be fun to go to Detroit. Obviously, Stafford going home, Rams facing Brad Holmes, Jared Goff, all those things. You know what? We get there. I'm just saying, as Ram fans, seldom do we enjoy things. And we need to enjoy every minute of this. Let's get that win. Let's stress until we get through New Year's Eve. Rich Ramos celebrates his 29th birthday, and we get there. And then let's just enjoy this. And let's put some damage, right? Let's put the hurt on the 49ers. I really believe the one of the few teams in the NFC that has a shot against the 49ers is the Rams. And because we're so familiar with them and we don't know what we don't know. Tim Burns, I would be yelling bad things at Goff. Tim Burns, you're a Goff guy. You have been a major Goff guy the whole time we've been here. Bill, revenge tour. Bet San Francisco and Dallas and Philly in the playoffs. Yeah, it's hard to go against that. You got to consider them. I'm not really a big fan of Philly right now, and it'll be interesting if Miami takes Dallas apart on Sunday. What do you think's going to happen in Dallas? It's going to be a meltdown. Frisco is the better team. They're banged up with Armstead and Hargrave in the front. If the Rams could run the ball on them, I don't know, get me excited. They would be scared to death to play the Rams because this is Frisco's window. And if Frisco botches this, they're going to be in total meltdown in the Bay Area. And it will be marvelous. Last thing, we'll come back to some questions at the end. Did you see McVay handing out game balls? Has somebody who worked in ministry and knows I was a youth pastor for 11 years, Sean McVay would have been a heck of a youth pastor. He knows how to get those young guys excited and get them to buy in. He's very charismatic. Rams, you got McVay as the head coach, right? All those years with Jeff Fisher, Linehan, Spagnuolo, brutal what we went through. And we've got Jeff Fisher. Thank you, Stan Kroenke and Les Snead. Rams update. We talked about this. They worked out an XFL kicker named Alex Matheson at long snapper, and it makes you curious what they think about Carson Tinker. And you got the impression that maybe something about the snaps is throwing Haversick off. I don't know. Looking at the grading, the offensive line was brilliant, and it graded out accordingly on PFF. But give it up for Alaric Jackson and Havenstein. Noteboom did a great job at right tackle on Sunday, and then his foot injury kept him out, and Havenstein came back and was great on Thursday. And Alaric Jackson was fantastic as well. And so give it up for the offensive line. And it's going to be interesting, and this is what I was going to bring up when Paul was talking about finding a new center, is how does Jackson close the season? If the Rams extend beyond the first round of the playoffs and Jackson continues to excel, it does become a question about going about drafting another tackle. And I think we're going to have to anyway, because Havenstein is starting to show that he's mortal. He's in his 10th year, or he's in his 9th year, and he'll be going to his 10th next year. Now, some of these guys play a lot longer than that, but think of the last time we heard of injuries messing up Havenstein. He's missed a couple games this year. One thing I did, and again, I'm very questionable about PFF grades, but when it matches up with what you see, you got to give them credit. Did you see how well Nakua and Demarcus Robinson scored as blockers, right? Note to Steeler fan Rob, winning teams have receivers that block. Yeah, winning teams have receivers that block. This is something we loved about Kupp and Robert Woods just a couple of years ago. And Kupp's still a good blocker. His body's kind of banged up right now. But to get that out of Robinson and Nakua, very blessed. Sorry to see Atwell only get 4 snaps. We talked about it, but Robinson's at another level right now. Defensively, Kendrick only played 10 snaps, so you can't lay anything on him. And the secondary was worked by Olave, but they really didn't get Bird. Shaheed got them that one time, and it looked like a mental breakdown. But the Rams secondary did the job. And did anyone else out there, all you guys are asking questions and making comment, did anybody else think that was pass interference on Perry on the touchdown when he grabbed at Kobe Durant's jersey? Let me know. Ernest Jones, Ernest Jones makes Bobby Wagner feel like a fading dream. I liked Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner played really well for the Rams last year, but he cost too much money, and Ernest Jones has given us all that and more. I don't know. I know you don't put much money into an off-ball linebacker these days, but watching Ernest Jones play and seeing him develop as a pass rusher, picked up his 5th sack last night. We talked about this, that he's got 30 pressures on the season, but 17 of them have come in the last 4 games. Raheem Morris is blitzing him more. He's got 5 sacks. And I know, like I said, you don't put much money into an off-ball linebacker, but there is part of me that hopes he gets a second contract with the Rams after next year because he's playing like he's worth it. And remember who Ernest Jones was. 3rd round, 104 overall out of South Carolina. No one knew who he was, but McSneed sure did. Byron Young didn't get a sack, but I thought Byron Young played a better game yesterday, held the edge. The Rams held the edge really well. Kamara looked disinterested, or there just wasn't room for him. But Michael Hoyt and Byron Young played really well. Nick Hampton got 12 snaps. No injuries as of now to report on, so that's nice. 10 days, no serious injuries. Hopefully THT, Joe Noteboom, Duke Shelley, some of these guys, they mend up and everyone's full and ready to go as we go to New York on New Year's Eve to celebrate Richard Ramos's birthday. Okay, Rams won on Thursday. I had that pegged. Saturday, you got the Bengals Steelers. I'm going with the Browning rifle. I like the Steelers backup quarterbacks better than the Pittsburgh backup quarterbacks. And the Steelers can't afford to lose this game, can they? Bills Chargers, we're going with Buffalo. Buffalo's on a roll. Colts Falcons. Indy has a lot of guys banged up, but I'm going to go with the stash and Gardner Minshew because they're playing for their lives. The Falcons are hanging by a thread. Packers Panthers. Packers are playing for their lives. Panthers aren't very good, but I'm going to go with Green Bay. Browns Texans. That's going to be interesting. CJ Stroud is looks like he's not going to play. I'm going to go with Flacco and the Browns to get their 10th win. Who would have thunk it, right? Lions 10-4 going against the Vikings. If Brad Holmes and Jared Goff want to do the Rams a favor, just put the Vikings out of their misery. You know, one of the things that was the least talked about this week was last Saturday when Kevin O'Connell went for it twice on 4th down at the Cincy 40, I think it was, and they had inches to go, and he ran back-to-back quarterback sneaks with Nick Mullins. With Nick Mullins. Are you crazy? They did it. They lost. Rams have the 6th seed right now. Texans, Jets. I'm rooting for Sam Howell. Give Sam Howell. I guess I don't know if Brissett's going to start. Let Sam Howell start. I want him to rack up some numbers. Seahawks, Titans. I would go with the Seahawks, but they needed a lot of stuff to happen to beat the Eagles on Monday. They needed the game of their lives. The Titans, Will Levis, you never know what you're going to get. It's kind of exciting. I got to go with the Seahawks, though, because they're fighting for their playoff lives. Jaguars, Buccaneers, I'm going with Baker at home, even if Trevor Lawrence plays. Cardinals, Bears, Cardinals, Bears, who cares, right? Justin Fields is going to play well because he's looking for another home after this season is over. Cowboys, Dolphins, I'm going with the Dolphins. I just am. I don't really think much of either team, but I do like to see meltdowns from Cowboy fans. It's one of my favorite things, right? I like presents at Christmas. I like lobster for dinner. I like tacos on Friday night instead of just Tuesday. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love it when the Rams win, and I really love it when the Cowboys lose. It's like the best thing in the world. Sunday night, Broncos, Patriots. We'll watch it. But Broncos are going to win that one. Monday, 3 games on Christmas Day. Who cares about the NBA? Raiders, Chiefs, Eagles, Giants, Eagles, Ravens, 49ers. I just want to see a real physical game, just a super physical game. I want the 49ers just beat up, banged up, and sore when it's over. And, that'll be a lot of fun, too, to see the 49ers melt down. Okay, we're hitting the 39-minute mark. Let's wrap this up on this date, December 22nd. Not a lot of stuff. Today's Taylor Rapp's birthday. Taylor Rapp is 26 years old today, the former Rams safety, now with Buffalo. He had some big hits last week. Former Ram cornerback Gene Howard played with the Rams through 72 out of Langston. He turns 76 today. And then on this day in 2008, Coy Bacon died at the age of 66. Now, Coy Bacon had about 5 seasons with the Rams and then was shipped off to San Diego, Cincy, and then the Redskins. But they weren't keeping sacks officially, but as the NFL Films and others went back and they explored all the sacks of these players prior to 1982, Coy Bacon finished his career with 130 and a half sacks from 1968 to 1981. He has more sacks than Hall of Famers Ricky Jackson and Derek Thomas, and only 2 less than Lawrence Taylor. And so that's something to think about there. I always thought Coy Bacon, he's kind of like a prehistoric version of Calais Campbell, maybe a little bit better at getting to the quarterback, but he deserves a shot, right? I know he passed away. He got into some drugs and some bad stuff after football, turned his life around, became a believer, and spent the rest of his life talking to young people. And be a nice story to see Coy Bacon. I did a whole breakdown on him on his birthday. Be nice to see him in the Hall of Fame. And then finally, on this day in 1974, my 17-year-old brother Tim and the 10-year-old me took 2 buses. We took a bus from El Monte to downtown and from downtown to the Coliseum to see the Rams in the playoffs against the Redskins. And we were in the closed end of the end zone in that jam-packed Coliseum. Ashley Whippet, I think that was the name of the dog that caught the Frisbee at halftime. And it was packed. And about 4 or 5 rows behind us was this old white guy. And I just remember him just constantly at every moment, because the Redskins briefly took a 10-9 lead on a Moses Denson touchdown. And he was screaming, "Allen's revenge, Allen's revenge, Allen's revenge." And then Sonny Jurgensen, I believe it was Jurgensen, came in and was picked off by Isaiah Robertson. And Robertson made this spectacular 59-yard pick 6 return, just crisscrossed the field. He was running away from us, but that place just went crazy, right? You get 90,000 in the Coliseum. It was crazy. And that was a pretty special moment. I never forgot it. And I remember I was next to this woman, this African-American lady. We were sharing binoculars because you needed binoculars. She looked at me and she gave me this serious look and she goes, "Rams are going to the Super Bowl." And the cool thing I remember about that woman there, she was there by herself. She was a Ram fan and she came to the playoff game by herself. That was a great bus ride back to El Monte. So wanted to get that one out there. Tim, if you're watching, thanks for taking me to that game. 17, took his 10-year-old brother. What did we pay? $6 for those seats? $8 for those seats? All right, we're going to let you guys go. Let's see if there's any other questions here. Oh, we do. Okay, let me see here real quick, guys. Let's see. You said his name that shall not be uttered. Did I say Jeff Fisher? I'm sorry. Sorry, Tim Burns. Don't unsubscribe. Thank you, Bill. It was pass interference. Thank you, Tim Burns. Easily pass interference. Bill says Duke Shelley could be coming back next week. I didn't see that. But that's a depth piece right now because we're kind of limited on depth at corner. Steve Ramirez, I was at that Redskin playoff game too. Oh, wow, Steve, really? My older brother took us all the big games. We were in Section 3 for that game. I don't know where Section 3 was, Steve. Was Section 3 at the closed end or more towards the peristyle? But we were like right behind the goalpost, midway up at the closed end, and had a great view of okay, so you were at the peristyle. Okay. So we had a great view of Harris's touchdown pass to Bob Klein. And it was like Harris had all the time in the world before hitting Klein on that touchdown. So, all right, guys, I got to go. I got to get you out of here. Went long. Thank you for clicking on. Please, if you haven't liked and subscribed, hit like and subscribe. Hit the share button. Share this around. We're trying to build our footprint here before the season ends. And just to let you know, one of the things we will be doing, we're still doing 3 shows throughout the year. Now, there'll be times I'm out of town working a camp or something, but we're going to be doing 3 shows every week throughout the offseason. We don't stop. We don't have the ability to stop. So we want you guys to stay in touch with us and stay close to us as we head into postseason, whether the Rams are playing or not, whether or not we get into the free agency period, all that stuff, draft. We're going to keep going forward. Okay. God bless, guys. Take care. Stay out of trouble. And I think, I do. I will see you briefly on Monday. God bless.